Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Iron and Ceremony, the our weekly podcast on all things Warhammer 40k, which devoted to 11th edition at the moment because obviously that's up and coming. I'm joined tonight by Glenn.
Hello.
Right. And for those eagle-eyed among you, you know there's no John tonight. After his poor performance last week with the live streaming, he's not allowed. No, I'm joking. He's unable to attend due to other work commitments. But we're back. We're live streaming. Hopefully it works. And we'll see how we go. Glenn, any hobbying since I last saw you, or since last week when you spoke with John?
No.
No.
Not even going to beat around the bush with that one. No,
Very
like
good.
I was saying to John, I don't know if anybody that obviously couldn't get on the live stream has caught up with us. We did cover it a little bit. I'm looking at using 11th as my launch pad of getting back in because I pretty much just skimmed over 10th, haven't really played anything, and once I get an idea of what's going to work, what's not going to work, because at the minute I'm sort of, I could do something,
Yeah.
but it's very much a case of, is it going to be worth doing this or is it going to be worth doing that? So I'm really in limbo at the minute and have been for the past, good month or more since I started doing a little bit again.
I
Um,
think it's fair, given all of the changes to like detachments, how they're built, army construction, war gear points for certain things, all of these little bits and pieces. I would do the same thing. I've been looking at my desk where I've got stuff at the moment, and it's yeah, I haven't really moved forward with any of it. Purely, that's the excuse I'm using anyway. I've got Logan Grimnar's base. That's nearly done. And I feel like I could get him painted because regardless of how the army build goes, I'm still going to use him. So that I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that'll be
he's
fine.
still a looking model. So
Yeah.
worst case
But
scenario, rule of cool kind of situation going on with him.
exactly that. But it's like, do I need to paint the Wolfen that I've got based? Maybe. I don't know. They were good this edition, since the Codex came out, but I don't know who knows what they're gonna be next edition.
Yeah, yeah, this
So
is the problem for a lot of people at the minute.
yeah, and some stuff it's yeah, like the Wolven gonna be is that a kit that's gonna be redone? It's a newish kit, but it's also a bit derpy. Don't know. Um, I say newish, it's not that new anymore, but it's a bigger plastic kit, so it doesn't look out of place. Let's put it that way. Um, yeah, so we'll have to see. Because obviously you don't want to paint something and then not use it. Same as I got Logan on sled on eBay, like literally 2 weeks before the actual Logan Grimnar new edition model came out. And I was like, great, well, that's just going to go in the bits box. But
Yeah, it's unfortunate when things like that happen.
mm, alas, main things other than hobby things, main things to cover day, the big one. Let me quickly see if I can share screen. There we go. I think that should be up.
Yep.
Yep. The big one just before we came live. Um, Sunday preview. It's almost Armageddon time. There we go. And obviously the long-awaited announcement of the yeah, the edition. Like what we know what it's going to look like with everything that's come up. There was also the extended cinematic today as well. I don't know if you had a chance to watch that they put on YouTube.
I only seen a little sort of the little teaser clip that was on the socials to sort of make
Yeah,
you go, ah, go and look at this. Well, I just never actually got around to
yeah, it's
watching.
pretty good. Yeah, it was like a 3 minute video, some good stuff. I think it's a lot. It's stuff that we've already seen before in various places, sort of stitched together with maybe the odd bit of extra or extended footage,
Fair.
but it's still pretty good. Like still worth a look. And then obviously we know, yeah, we know pretty much what's coming in the box now. So yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to if you're well wanting the new stuff, wanting the cards early, because I think that's really like what are you going to get in here that you're not going to get if you wait for the app to update because the rules are going to be available anyway via the app. But what
Hmm.
you're going to get is obviously the card, the cards, the decks of cards, which everyone will want, and they will sell out really quickly. I have no doubt. The lore book, as they've got it now, which is quite nice if you want it, and then obviously, of course, all of the new models, in which there will be lots and lots of grey plastic. And given that I've still got grey plastic from 2 editions ago, launch box. I'm not gonna put myself through it by getting another load of grey plastic.
Yeah, it's
I want the cards. That's what I want.
yeah. I think I want the cards. I wouldn't mind a physical rulebook, but I'll probably, if I don't get my hands on that, not too concerned about that. Um, I am a little bit old school. I do like my physical rulebook, but
Yeah,
because once you get your FAQs and all your stuff like that starts coming through every kind of, I nearly said season, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
When they do their refreshes, the chances are by the time you open that box and take out the rulebook, there ought to be an FAQ.
yeah. Well,
But some random misprint, some random interpretation, so it will be out of date by the time it comes out of the box almost.
it is, and I mean that's what we've seen, particularly in 10th, and it was starting. It was starting in ninth, but they became. I think Games Workshop became a lot better with their balance passes and their updates, all being digital, especially in 10th. That it has meant that things like the physical rules and stuff like that is out of date. Whereas if you go back even like sixth or seventh edition, you'd have a good couple of months of that those rules being what they are until such a point that there's a what the Munitor and Field Manual and the chapter approved book that they would then launch, which I've still got a couple of
Yeah.
that you would get that would have the official FAQs in. Yeah, those times now seem to be past.
Yeah, for me, that's only a good thing. Like, all
Yeah,
right, if a random FAQ comes out with a few bits and pieces, on launch day, and we've seen it for codexes, we've seen it for rulebooks before, it probably
yeah,
will happen. Um, just the simple fact that you're not walking around with 4 or 5 different sheets of paper from various sources now going, oh well, this is
yeah,
for this and this is for this. Everything on the app, make it simple, updates automatically. You don't even have to worry about it. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah,
Br-
I'd be the same as you. Cards, maybe a little rule book, just
Yeah,
to have it physically in my hand.
and
I'm not even hugely that bothered about the Crusade cards because it's not something we've ever really dabbled with too
no,
much.
no, and I like don't get me wrong. Like I know whether it'll be the week after or 2 weeks after or however long it is after the edition when they sell the rule book separately and they'll sell the cards separately and they'll sell the Crusade cards separately. I will probably buy them just to have them, even if I don't use them. I know with the Crusade stuff because they've simplified it from
Mm,
what was said in terms of those cards where you effectively play a string of free battles. I think there's more scope for maybe that happening.
yeah,
Particularly the likes of me and John, for example, where we do regularly play, 2 or 3 times a month.
yeah,
It you could see how that would work. Like you'd be able to get it done.
yeah. That's true. And you can make it as big or as small as you want. You can start with like 2 or 3 games, and then you can build it
Yeah,
sort of like eights, nines, and tens as well, can't you, if you really wanted to.
yeah. So it might be interesting, but yeah, I'll be waiting for the individual on sales as opposed to the big one. And obviously they did a nice little map to show you when it is available. So as always, 10 a.m. Saturday
Mhm.
UK time. I think for was it Leviathan last time? Leviathan. Yeah, it was Leviathan. They they had a pretty good queuing system on the website. Like, obviously they're trying their best to um, stop the touts from going on and ordering loads up. Obviously, that it is what it is. I'm sure we'll see loads on eBay straight afterwards. If there aren't already some on eBay as a precursor to the on sale. Um, but anyone that is doing it, obviously, just make sure you're online. Games Workshop if you really want it. If not, take your chances with your local independent.
Yeah, local independent or even just the actual Games Workshop,
Yeah.
because uh, from experience of working in one, you will generally get a decent stock level of most of the stuff to start with.
Okay.
So even if stuff sells out online quite quickly, if you're down on the morning of the 20th, you might have to be down an hour or two before the shop opens, but if you're first in that queue, they do not, well, any of the ones that I've worked in do not take pre-orders on physical copies, do not hold anything aside.
Right.
Whoever's first through the door gets first dibs
Gets
on. They might limit you to one per whatever, but yeah, just get in nice and early, get through the door, and yeah, you should be able to pick whatever it is you want up in store as well,
just
which is possibly the way I will operate because I don't think I can be bothered to queue online.
what
Um,
like what I'm sure there will be is plenty of stock because they always tend to make a lot of them. Not that they don't sell out, but there does tend like they do sell out of the box sets, but there does tend to be lots of them if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, most of the time.
Yeah. So that was the big one. So that's the pre-order going up, then some Warhammer Plus stuff. To be honest, I've got the subscription to Warhammer Plus mainly for the app. I don't remember the last time I watched anything on there.
Oh,
Um, and then the usual bits and pieces. Unfortunately, they couldn't quite coordinate the White Dwarf this month to be the Armageddon one, but I'm sure it will come in the one after. But yeah, as to be expected, there's the announcement. That's what we know. So new edition, obviously pre-order for Saturday the 6th, so next Saturday, and then they said the 20th is live date.
yeah, it's always a 2 week
Yeah.
for the big boxes like that or editions.
So before the end of the month, we may well then be seeing, well, definitely before the end of the month, we'll be seeing in in the flesh games, as it were, because I know we'll talk about it in a minute. I know that they've done some test games or they've streamed some test games.
Yeah, they
I
done
don't know
free on Bank Holiday Monday.
yeah, did you have did you get a chance to watch any of them?
I had the best intentions of, and then ended up doing stuff with the wife. So,
Yeah,
it's like
fair
real life
enough.
got in the way.
Fair enough. I started watching the rematch one of Liam VSL's Eldari versus
That Mech one.
yeah, the AdMech, that was it, which is the rerun of the championship game. I haven't finished it though. And then I know there's one that I'm sure John's watched or will watch was there was a Death Guard one as well.
Yeah.
Um, so but interesting. Like I've watched some of the summary videos on the likes of Auspex Tactics where they were talking about it. Um, yeah, lots of changes, lots of tweaks. It seems like it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I've been watching some of the other streamers, the bigger ones that clearly have some sway
Affiliation.
and
Yeah,
have obviously had things provided to them. I think it was Vanguard
yeah,
Tactics. They seem to be quite good. Oh, well, the guy seems to be quite good.
yeah.
So yeah, really looking forward to it. It's fine. being told all these things and stuff, I want to get it in my hand, have a read. That's not necessarily so I can put my interpretation on it. I try to give it as written,
Yeah,
not but what if this means that? No, I like it as written, nice and simple. Hopefully the the language is nice and clear. That it's not open to interpretation, which I think they've got better at over the years because it used to be shambolic sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. They definitely have, and there will always be something because that's the nature of like tournament play and the meta and people finding out ways to do things. I think they'll be better at trying to limit that though. So we'll see what
Yeah,
happens. But
hopefully.
um, so as I said, that was the you can see up here at the top one. That's the new cinematic trailer. Things that. Then they did this launch, get ready for Armageddon, which I had a brief look at, but effectively just a order your models, Gazgul, Yarick right up top, and then a few others that clearly they're just trying to push. Um,
Yeah, because Drakari and
Leagues of Vote or the yeah
yeah, real massive importance to Armageddon.
yeah yeah
Mm.
exactly get them sold. Then we had the I think this is the last of the faction focuses was the Necron. Obviously Necron's one that I play. I did have a brief look at it. I think they've picked an interesting one to kind of highlight. So giving either Immortals or Necron Warriors Assault, which is interesting. And then if they make an advance move, they can still do an action, which we know leans into the more action economy of the edition. I'm pretty sure that one of the Necron Warrior blobs with their weapons has assault anyway. So mate, unless they're going to change the data sheet, but we'll see. Um, and then a few other bits and pieces like a mortals unit. I like tools that this unit's ranged attacks have rapid fire. Well, so basically, this one, what the hypermobility protocols, they're just trying to make the immortals a bit better than they were last edition, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
'cause was anybody actually really taking Immortals? It was pretty much just warrior blobs.
I used to take like one squad of five to sit on like the home objective maybe, or if I had points like the guns on them are better than obviously the warriors themselves, but they're
Of
just
course.
they weren't a very efficient unit for what they were. But I had five of them, so I'd run them. Um, Sky Shroud Spearhead. This was an interesting one when I saw it. So I can only imagine that this one is going to be one of those one DP detachment point things because it's only really affecting the Tomb Blades.
Yeah.
But they get deep strike, and if they made an ingress move, so if they did deep strike, you get +1 to hit. So kind of nice idea, like you drop them in, shoot, and then scoot them off again. Like yeah, like
There's a decent bit of tactical flexibility there because
yeah,
you've got some options on the weapons, haven't you?
you do. You've got the Gauss or the other ones that's modeled there. Not, I don't think it's Tesla. Might be Tesla. And then also you can add like things like shield vanes and stuff like that, so they can get additional bonuses. Or what's it? I think they get an invuln, but they lose movement because of it.
Yeah.
They're quite a good unit. Like I've got three of them that I run in the what's it called? The vehicle detachment as currently runs, and they're pretty good. They do the job. I think they got scout. That's it. And then what have we got here? So it's Tomb Blade enhancements, destroy cult mounted units, range attacks have assault. That makes sense. But again, focusing on your mounted units and stuff like that. And then finally the big one for the monoliths. So empowered engines, Necron's Titanic fly unit get +6 inch movement. Interesting because they also seem to have been yeah, the flyers this edition, we'll have to see what happens with them because obviously last edition they not nerfed to the point where you wouldn't use them, but they're not very efficient. They're not particularly good. Whereas here they seem to be trying to make them a little bit better. Um,
Yeah.
I don't like again. The trouble with the monolith is that it's a really big model and it's really expensive, so not many, not many people have them. Um, but you get the additional movement, and then if they jump out of the Eternity Gate, they get lethal or sustained. Yeah, it's quite nice. So again, if you've got them, if you're going to be running big monoliths, then at least this is a way of making them work quite well. What I would say is overall, from a Necron point of view, I was a bit, I suppose, underwhelmed. I suppose what they actually chose to talk about, because I think for a lot of Necron players, and even the people that play against Necrons and don't like playing against them, one of the big things is just what's the reanimation protocols going to be like in the next edition? Like, is it going to change again? Is it going to be slightly different? Like that's the bit that I think is more. I don't know. I'd
Yeah,
want to know more about.
we're not really seeing widespread army rules yet. We're still just seeing the detachments. So
Yeah,
I would imagine widespread army rules may not change that much until we see a codex for them.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on. Um,
It'd be nice
um,
if they sort of like in an index, but
yeah,
for everything. But we'll
yeah.
we'll we'll make do.
Indeed, indeed. Then we had what I'm gonna skip back because we haven't talked about, or I know you guys haven't talked about the Thousand Suns.
Yep.
So we'll go and have a look at this very quickly. I actually quite liked this preview based on what I've already heard, which is quite interesting. So, Sorcerous Invigoration. Once per turn per unit when a friendly Thousand Sun Striker, excluding monster units. So that is interesting. Successfully manifests a ritual. That unit heals D3 wounds. So just really nice. Like very, very easy to understand, easy to use. You know you're going to be running rituals all the time anyway. It doesn't look like there's anything in terms of it doesn't have to be like the supercharged one. It doesn't have to be if you failed it. It's just if you successfully manifest a ritual, you heal D3 mortal wounds. The monster unit means that that's not going to include Magnus because I believe he has the monster keyword as a Chaos Primarch. So okay, fine. I get it from that point of view. That would have been really good, but it is what it is.
It's
But it
D3 wounds across pretty much everything in your army that does a ritual. So that's
basically
a nice little.
it. I think it's very nice. If this one is, I'll be interested to see the cost of the rule, like cost of it, like because I think it's a pretty good one. So it's going to make the
Going to
army.
be though D3 wounds up to because it doesn't specify, is that up to full model or is that regenerating models?
There was some debate that I've seen online about
Mm.
this, whether this regenerates a model, and some people are reading it as yes, and others are reading it as no. I think we'll just have to wait and see once it's fully out.
One of those day one FAQs.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
That that's fair. A nice. Oh yeah, this enhancement's nice as well. So infantry or mounted Thousand Sun Psyker. So either Psyker your sorcerer on foot or your sorcerer on disc, effectively. On a 2+. So when he's destroyed, roll a dice on a 2 up, he gets back up with 3 wounds remaining. So that's the same thing that the Lord of Contagion gets natively. So Lord of Contagion gets this just as an ability. This is an enhancement, so it's going to cost some points, but again, it's a nice little buff that's going to keep your very expensive, very important psychos knocking around.
And then you do a ritual and you could be back up to potentially 6 wounds.
But exactly, yeah. So it's yeah, pretty good from that point of view.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, and then one of the strats. So one friendly engaged Thousand Sun Psyche unit. Select one enemy unit, engage your unit. Roll 6d6 for each 4 up. That enemy unit suffers one mortal wound. So effectively, in combat, you get a free grenade
And on
for a CP.
average, 3 mortal wounds.
Yep, it's a nice one. Like
Yeah.
it's again just going to be chucking out more mortal wounds. It's interesting because it's the one area where they struggle with dishing out mortal wounds is the fight phase. This allows it, so that's quite nice. Then the Sector cohort. This was interesting. I'm glad in a way when I first when this one first came out, I was like, why have they picked the robots? Like that seems weird. And then actually I thought about it, and you see a lot of Thousand Suns lists now. They are running the robots because they've got like the infiltrate and stealth, so they are actually a pretty good unit, even if it wasn't what everyone wanted first up, if that makes sense. And they've become quite used. This is nice. I'd imagine this would be one of those ones that's just one detachment point, but effectively your Sector robots unit all get psychic. Why is that important? Well, because now we know the psychic like weapon keyword. This edition means you ignore all modifiers.
Hmm.
So you now don't need to worry about things like shooting stuff in cover and things like that. You're going to be able to do it without any modifiers, so that's good. Um, and then Thousand Sun Psychers units have the following ability. While they're within 12 of the robots, the unit's melee attacks have +1 weapon skill. So they're going to hit easier as well. So, and because they have free, or at least they do this edition, they have the free Overwatch and free heroic intervention strat. You would use this quite nicely. There's a bit of synergy there from that point of view. So I think it's yeah, it's a pretty nice little little detachment for the robots. And then the what was this enhancement? Oh, this is this is a good enhancement as well. So sorcerer model in your movement phase at the start or end of the unit's move, you can select one friendly robot within 6. That unit's ranged attacks get +1 ballistic skill. Now that's really good. Why that's really good is because the robots have a ballistic skill of 4, so they're 4 ups natively. Um, they'll be ignoring everything because they'll have psychic weapons. But then they get +1 ballistic skill if you've got this on a sorcerer that can be near them. And then suddenly you're making them hit on a 3, which just makes them that little bit better than what they are now.
But if they're psychic and they should be surely ignoring modifiers to their ballistic skill, so they shouldn't get that +1.
Well, we'd have to look at
Screw your
the
robots.
yeah, we'd have to look at the wording because I believe
Yeah. No,
normally they put it
I
as
know what you mean. I'm just being a
yeah,
dick.
but yeah, that I this would be one of the ones where you to choose to not ignore it.
Yes.
But because the thing that I like about Psychic particularly, and like why it's really good for Thousand Suns, if they keep the Death Guard rule the same, where John will always go, right, you're going to get -1 to your weapon skill and -1 to your ballistic skill, which are like, oh, fine, like whatever. Your Thousand Suns, because almost all of them, apart from the Rubrics and the Terminators, have psychic weapons,
Yeah.
will turn around and just say, yeah, your army rule doesn't work against my army.
Yeah. Same for the Grey Knights that I was thinking about.
Yeah,
Across the board. I'll just go. Don't care.
yeah, which I think will be a particularly bad matchup. So Thousand Suns and Grey Knights against Death Guard will then be quite a tough matchup because of it.
Yeah, it's a good job John's going with the orcs then, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see what happens there. And then what else have we got? Just a strat to help them out. Opponent shooting phase, enemy targets, sector robots. Again, got to be close to your Psyker. Ranged attacks that target a unit with a strength greater than your toughness, -1 to wound. So it's nice. That makes sense.
Mm.
So pretty good from that point of view. So I quite like that for the sector. Servants have changed. This is the mutant based one. So for all of your non-rubric or rubricized stuff, so Zangors, Mutalith Vortex Beasts, Zangor Enlightened, so the goats on discs. Basically, the Zangors get battle line, fine. Friendly mutant unit is shooting. Enemy units have a +6 inch detection range, so that's good. So nice bits and pieces there. Something to help out the spawn. Like I'm not gonna lie, I never run the beastie detachment for the Thousand Suns because I just I've never looked at it.
There's better stuff.
But they're trying, which I
Mm.
appreciate. But I think the two others that they've put in here, the Sector one and then the Sorceress Invigoration, I think they're both quite interesting. It will all again, the key thing will be what are the detachment points look like? Like, are you going to be able to if you're running because right now everyone runs Grand Coven or um, Rubric Phalanx. Um, and if both of those are 3 points, you're probably never going to run these two anyway because you you just know it's effective. But
Yeah.
if there's some mix and match, maybe there'll be a way of playing it. It'll be quite interesting. And as I said, I'm sure as time goes on, tournament level, people will find ways of running it that will then make it a bit more viable. But yeah, I overall I was quite pleased with the Thousand Suns one compared to the Necron one. I thought there was a bit more to go with for the Thousand Suns.
Yeah, I must admit, I was the same with the Grey Knights whenever I seen that last week. Um, just simply two of the three. But don't get me wrong, all three of them were pretty good, but two of the three were stuff that I was either had built or was planning on building.
Yeah,
I was quite focused on that. So it was like, okay, the units that you don't see as much of, getting a bit of love, or just things that will work a little bit better
yeah,
going forward. So yeah, it's exciting times for all the armies,
yeah,
and you know your year of the wolf is looking good.
yeah. Well, because the Year of the Wolf, they did so on that they did obviously they did the Space Wolves reveal earlier on.
Yeah,
Um, and again, I think I felt similar to how I felt about the Necron. Oh no, actually, there was a because I think it was the Grey Hunter one that I was actually most interested in, because suddenly that makes them much more viable. Um, the trouble with it is that it just means I've now got to paint a load of Grey Hunters, because as I said, it does make them quite interesting in that regard. Um, we'll have to see. I think with the same with a lot of the Divergent chapters, it's more. I think that the bit that gets a bit sad is that when you get it and you've got all the flavor and you've got the bits and pieces you want to run, and then actually the best way of running them is still something like Gladius or one of the
it's,
vanilla.
it's not what you want from you know, like you say, the more divergent chapters. You want the flavor of your chapter to be well represented.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So we'll see. Again, the key bit will be seeing the bit that I really want to get into now is army building, list
Yeah.
building, because I want to be like, right, what have I got right now that's painted and ready, and can I make a list with it, and then have a couple of games, or and then what then goes on my queue to be like, right now I need to paint that because right now I've got various bits that I'll be like, I'll paint that next, I'll paint that next, based on 10th edition. But I think me and John have got I think we're going to a tournament in July, so that will be running on the new edition. It'll be like, right, what do I need for that? And
Hmm.
then obviously you've got the London GT in September. And again, it'll be like, right, what do I need to make sure I've got everything I need for that?
Yeah.
And right now, the worst thing that could have happened is that I've had my head turned by the Thousand Suns again. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just run them. um, but then the Space Wolves will never get painted. So I'm sticking to my guns. This year will be Space Wolves.
I mean, I don't think anyone would hold it against you if you took the Thousand Suns to the closest tournament, because that's possibly what you've got more stuff available for at the drop of a hat that
Yes,
you could put an army together out of that, whereas it gives you a bit more time to play with the wolves,
yeah,
see what works, see what doesn't work. Um, because like
yeah,
the London tournaments, obviously, a much it's a bigger deal.
yes, yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's five games a weekend. Quite a lot of Warhammer happens that weekend.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Um, cool. Then this was the other. We talked about the cards, so I just thought flash this up quickly. Um, like so, obviously, fundamental changes to how the battles of thought centering around the question: what have you built your army to do? And then obviously what the cards get. So the chapter approved, where you've got effectively all of the orders and how the force dispositions put together that tell you what type of game, what type of missions you're going to be playing. We already seen like a lot of the previews for this sort of stuff. So, your type of uh, disposition is going to be like a take and hold type army, or disruption, or purge the foe, priority assets, or reconnaissance. I wonder which ones are going to become popular. Like, again, I suppose when you first start out, and depending on the army, it's a lot of purging that tends to take place. Especially when you want to kill, like you want to go out and like just take down the other stuff. So it'll be interesting, but I'm sure as you get like the top tables at various places, a lot of the take and hold and disruption might start
Mm.
appearing a bit more. Um, yeah, it's so fifth chapter approved mission deck contains 15 individual mission matchups which effectively are built from the five dispositions. So and you can put them all together. And then there is a brand new set of twists. I don't know whether, like, again, like with the tournament scene in 10th, that everyone found like that the twists came out and then very quickly no one was using them. Um, so we'll have to see. Like some of them look okay. Um, like Martial Pride, I think that one makes a lot of sense. Um, if again, if it's enforceable, I suppose. But then if you've built your army and you don't have any battle line, it's a bit feels bad. We'll see. And then obviously the secondaries again. And I know they've done previews of these already as well. A few that have changed names, a few that I was quite interested to see on a couple of the articles. Some of the primary missions this edition are now secondary missions in the cards for 11th. So I think it was Burden of Trust is one that is now like a secondary mission, where you have to guard an objective, whereas
Yeah.
that was one of the primary missions in this edition. So I think that will be interesting to see how it works. Um, Obviously you're able to keep the cards for longer. Like that would be quite good. Event companion release for the PDF, which I think they do that already anyway. So just providing how you're going to do it from a tournament point of view. But overall, they definitely, I think they've done a lot to try and prep everyone for the edition, and particularly the like the live games, the pre-games, stuff like that they've been doing. Whereas like last time out, I think they didn't do quite as much from a preview games and stuff like that. I think they've probably done a better job this time around.
Well, this is the 11th time they've done this, so they should be getting pretty good at it by now.
You would hope so. You would
Mm.
hope so. I think they're certainly getting there.
And
Um, but it's yeah, as I said, it's nice to see from that point of view that they've definitely thought about it. So we will see how it develops.
mm.
Um, but I think that's it right now for the previews. Obviously, next Sunday we can hear about whether John managed to place his pre-order. Um, because that'll be after pre-order window. And I think me and John may have had another game by then. I think we've got some scheduled, so we'll see what happens. What our last two or three games coming up of this edition. I think last time I don't know whether John mentioned the last game we had against each other.
I have no idea. That was like a whole week ago that I was talking to him. So,
Yeah, he probably didn't because it was a while ago. It would have been the 18th, so yeah, almost 2 weeks ago. Um, that was where he tried out his great unclean ones. So we had two great unclean ones on the table. His mixed demon list um,
oh, yeah, I
against
think he did mention that actually. Yeah, he said something about taking the demons.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think yeah, it was an interesting one, but that was where we actually did play Burden of Trust. That's what was in my head. That was the primary mission. Um, as I said, it was an interesting game. Just again because it's been a while since I've seen the demons on the table. But it was nice actually being able to take them down without too much trouble. But I think it's not a detachment he plays that often, and I know he's currently playing through the tournament down at the what's it called, Guild of Gamers down in Gravesend. So I think he's got another match coming up on Wednesday as well. So we'll hear about that too.
yeah. I must admit that irritates me every single Wednesday night. It's just as I'm getting to go to sleep. He's sending through the results on the group.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh,
How he's got on this time round, but I think he's doing all right. I think he's
yeah. He seems to. It seems to be the one place that he doesn't actually perform that badly.
yeah. I think it's because he doesn't. I don't think he plays around too much with his list. He's got a couple of lists, a few tweaks, and that's what he goes into. Whereas against like me, he'll tweak it or whatever. I think he finally beat Dave as well. That was the other thing that I remember seeing. So
Ah, yes.
yeah, fair
Is
fair
his
dues.
is his league? Is it a set list league?
Yes. So the way it works that they try and organize it is you submit your list at the beginning, the point where you start off, and then
Yeah,
you can't change that list. So I can't remember how many battles they have. It's five or six, but effectively it's against you. So you don't play everyone in the league. You just have to play a number of
yeah.
battles, and then obviously they pick out the rankings from that point of view. So yeah, it's the same list over and over again, and it's whoever you can get your battles against effectively.
Fair.
Yeah, so it's not too bad. I suppose it's a nice way of doing it because you don't if you can get down to the club and you don't it's not every week. So if there's a week you can't get down there, you can still take part in the tournament and get it done over a period of time. They'll probably find that they may have it finished by the launch of 11th, but like I think like last time round there were a couple of codexes dropped, or it might have been the new chapter approved balance pass that dropped, and they still had to play the old version until they'd finished the tournament.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But it's what it is. Um, cool. All right. I think we can leave it there.
Alrighty.
Cool. All right. Thank you for joining, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Obviously, we'll see you next week, where we'll be seeing how the pre-order went and whether everyone got everything that they wanted. Cool. Bye
Bye.
all.